What's up guys, and welcome to another track guide. This week we're at Assen with the Mazda MX-5 Cup, and if you've raced for an entire week at Laguna Seca just before this, you will be well warmed up to the idea of having to push the car really hard while navigating through narrow track limits and track objects. This track rewards a lot of aggression on your driving, but you also need a lot of precision and a lot of technique to be able to handle the curbs and all of the changing directions that made building a setup for this track actually quite difficult. Make sure you practice quite a bit before going into a race, because if you don't, you just won't have enough confidence and practice to be able to extract everything that this track has to offer. Just reminding you that our lovely YouTube members are getting access to all track guide contents with a 2-day head start compared to their competition. So if you want to become part of that group and support the work that I do, make sure you click the join button, and don't forget to also join my Discord community to get the setups, ghost car, telemetry files, and all of the necessary information you need to schedule a coaching session with me, just like dozens of other LFM drivers have already done. Now let's get into the track guide. Coming into turn 1, brake hard just before the 50 board and get the car stopped while going in a straight line. The idea behind this is that we want our turning to be very sharp and in one swift motion, because doing that we can open up the line and be able to abuse the inside curb once we're at the apex, and also going relatively wide on the exit of this turn. Just remember that to have a valid lap time, you need to have at least 2 tires over the curbs. This is another one of those cases where I highly encourage you to join my Discord, because not only you'll be able to get my setups, but also download this replay file so you can watch it on your own computer and get a good idea of how this would look like with your view settings. Start braking gently once the concrete strip on the right ends, and send the car very deep into the turn in 3rd gear. The reason why we want to have our minimum speed very late into the turn is so we can minimize the hesitation between entry and exit, because this is a very long corner and there is a lot of idle time at the middle of it. So our main goals here are not to overslow the car on entry, but also be able to have a very tight line at the end of this turn, because this corner also sets us up for the very tight left-hander hairpin. For the hairpin, brake about a car length after the concrete strip on the right, and be aware that the exit of this corner is much tighter than it first seems like. So really let the car wash out wide on the entry of the turn to open up the line and set us up for a good exit into the long straight. From this corner onwards, the circuit completely changes in personality. From the flowy corners in the first sector that really depend on correct lines, correct minimum speeds, and all-out smoothness, the rest of the track is pretty much all aggression, technique, and car control. For this corner, brake about 2 cars lengths after the curb turns gray, and try to induce a little bit of rotation on entry so we can get a better line for this corner that tightens up. As soon as you land from jumping the inside curb, the car will naturally start washing out to the exact place we need to be. So as soon as you're onto this curb, keep turning left while maximizing track limits by staying with your right side tires over the curb. This corner offers you a great opportunity to train your mindset on how to go fast while still being safe. More often than not, whenever you go into a corner worrying about an outcome that you don't want, your actions will probably lead you to the exact outcome that you're afraid of. Your biggest concern here would be to wash wide on the exit of the turn and end up driving onto the gravel. So to combat that, you would probably turn in really soon and keep driving on the limit of those front tires to make it through the turn. In reality, you should brake really lightly at the flag post on the left and aim for a wide entry to turn down in the middle of the turn and straighten the exit. This is all about trusting your references and trusting the car, so that's what you should aim to do even if it feels uncomfortable. This corner is really hard for braking references, but in my case, I brake just as soon as the guardrail on the left hides itself behind the A-pillar of the car. Keep the car in 4th gear and aim to use as much of the inside curb as you possibly can. Brake just after the green shed on the left and aim for a strong and straight exit that doesn't require a lot of turning with the front tires. So that means that the more rotation you add using the brakes, the less you're gonna have to count on the steering wheel and consequently scrub the front tires. For the final chicane, brake exactly at this white line that runs across the track and have a relatively early turn in, aiming to use both of the high curbs on the inside of each turn. Just make sure you take them with your steering wheel pointed straight, otherwise the car is going to kick in a very unpredictable way. So that was a lap around Assen with the Mazda MX-5 Cup, and I hope this track guide was helpful to your week of racing in low fuel motorsports. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the hot lap.